Floorcraft in Tango social dancing. Hello there, my name is David Violet. I'm a tango dancer, a tango DJ, and a tango coach in the San Francisco, California area. I am making this video in hopes of making my small contribution to our tango community. I'm making this largely because I want to pass on some tips that I got from my mentor, one of my mentors, Raul Poli, a tango dancer, a milonguero who I met in Buenos Aires in 2002. He and his assistant, Milba Bernardi, would work with me almost every day for 2 months in August, September 2002. Raul would take me to El Beso, Grisel, Niño Bien, and all these Lo de Celia, all these milongas, and show me the ropes. And I think that what he showed me was quite interesting, and I'd like to pass it along. Sadly, Raul passed away in 2009. I will be showing you a video of him in 2008 as a tribute to him. May his soul rest in peace. And I'm hoping that to some extent he will continue to live through you, through the tips that I hope you find useful that I can give you from Raul. So let's take a look at a tango floor. Here we are looking at a tango floor from the top. You can see the first lane, the second lane, and we'll be concentrating on this area here where there will be a teardrop. These are teardrops that represent each of the couples. That teardrop in yellow will be the subject of our attention. But a few points, I think that we can agree on a few major principles, which are that, you know, when we come together in the evening, we want to have a good time. We want to create something beautiful, something that we create together, something where we work together to maintain it as something beautiful. It's harmonious, and we are proud of our creation. We dance with our partner, but we also dance with all the other people in the room, right? We dance with the milonga, we dance with the room, and that means being harmonious, courteous, etc. And let's do our best so that the space is spread evenly and supports the enjoyment of all. That's sort of the idea behind this video. And that means that the available space is not wasted and it is shared equally. Here we have our floor again with the 2 lanes. We will be turning in a counterclockwise direction, of course. And I would like to ask you a question. When you are dancing and the music stops and you look around and you have a floor like this, how does that make you feel? I want to know how that makes you feel. To me, it makes me feel like, it seems like we're each dancing for ourselves. We're dancing without really being aware that we are dancing with everybody. We're dancing with the room. I say that because, look, we have wasted space here, here, and here. And then when we waste space like that, that means that the other people are more crowded. So when we work together, when we're aware of our collective creation, we don't end up with a floor that looks like that, in my experience. On that basis, let's go through 10 points that I'd like to make in order to make sure that everybody has a good time. That's the idea. Okay, so first, do not go backwards. We all know this. There may be some beginners here. If you're a beginner in tango, welcome. I'm sure even you as a beginner have heard this before. When we're on the floor dancing, here we're going to be looking at this couple, we do not go backwards, even if there is space to go backwards. Because when you go backwards, it intimidates the people behind you. It starts to clog and halt the flow of the rondo, which is going around and around. That's part of the fun, going around and around, advancing across the floor. And if you push it, if you make a habit of going backwards, even if you think you're doing it in a well-controlled fashion, well, first of all, you are going to be intimidating people, making them back off, and which makes the person behind that couple back off. And second of all, you may make a mistake and end up colliding. And that's what we are hoping to avoid. So do not go backwards. It makes people pull back and it interrupts the flow. Number 2, do not swerve into another lane. Here we have a couple where the leader is going from the first lane into the second lane and back. This is not polite. It's not wise, and it's unsafe. So what will end up happening, even if you don't end up hitting someone, is that you intimidate the people next to you, the people behind you. You make them worry. This is going to make it less enjoyable for them. And in the end, you might end up running into somebody. That does happen. Number 3, stuck in place. This is something that Raul went over with me, and I'd like to use this particular point to introduce him a little bit better. Here is Raul in El Beso, and he's going to dance for us with Noemi. This video was not taken by me, but it's on YouTube. It was taken in 2008, 6 years after I worked with Raul, and he passed away shortly thereafter. May his soul rest in peace. But as I said earlier, I hope that some of the tips and wisdom and fun that he transmitted to me, I can help to transmit to you, and in that way, he lives on, let's say. Okay, so let's watch him dance. I'd like to pay this tribute to him. Okay, I have a little tear coming to my eye, so I wanted to pay tribute to Raul. Raul used to have a word for the people who are stuck in the floor. I don't know why. I have an idea. Guess what the word was? It was verdulero. Verdulero is the fruit and vegetable seller in Spanish. And here we have one. He's got his fruits and vegetables. Maybe they called him the verdulero because fruits and vegetables come on plants, and plants have roots, and somebody who's stuck in the floor appears to have roots stuck in the floor. I don't know. I never asked Raul. I wish I had. If you would like to pronounce it with me, please go ahead. Follow the bouncing ball. Verdulero. Verdulero. So here we have somebody who is being a verdulero. This person is in the has stopped and is blocking the flow, and the people behind the couple, they would actually all fit in front of him if he would just move. So what we have here is a verdulero who is blocking enough space for 4 people, simply because whatever he's doing, maybe talking, maybe doing the favorite step that or a step that he just learned in class, I don't know. That is what Raul called a verdulero. I thought that was kind of funny, and I'm passing it on to you. So do not be, please, a verdulero. It stops the flow of the dance for everybody else. And you'll sort of get a reputation. People will be thinking, who is stopping everything in our milonga? Not good. Stuck in place. And it can happen, actually, that there are several verduleros, and it really can stop the flow of the milonga. And you might end up with a situation that is like this, where everyone is going so slow. I was once in a milonga where for an entire Pugliese song, nobody moved. I know that Pugliese is beautiful, and I think we can enjoy it better going forward. But yes, of course, it's subtle. It can be slow and moving, but it doesn't mean that we stop. We keep going. And we're going to be hearing somebody talk about this in a minute, another recording. And in this particular case, I would say that we did not move forward 5 to 10 meters in an entire tanda. Let's move on to my point number 4. Do not be a bully. What do I mean by bully? It's the person who, in this case, is going around erratically, dancing erratically. In this way, making the others feel a little bit unsafe, sort of in a way through their dance, telling them to back off. This space is for me. Of course, this could be someone who's just new and not aware, or not a good dancer who is not aware that it's very offensive to all the other dancers. But it could also be someone, and that's the person I'm describing in this particular situation. It could be sort of a bully, somebody who thinks that he or she needs and is entitled to more space than everyone else. You can see how all that space is taken by that couple, whereas the other couples have so much less space. So what we recommend is that you take a look around. How much space does each couple have on average? and that's about how much space you should be having. But of course, we all do this pretty naturally as a rule, no problem. But let's try not to be a bully. Number 5, don't be a hog. In this case, the leader is trying to have more space than the other people by going back and forth. By going back and forth, nobody can pass and grab the space that the person is hogging. There they go, they are going back and forth, and if somebody tries to pass, they are able to step back into their way and keep them from passing. So do not be that kind of dancer. Number 6, sometimes we are in a venue where there's a wall on one edge of the floor, or maybe something else. Something makes it so that along one edge there are no tables and there's nobody. So or whatever it may be, you may have a situation where there's one main or a couple of main entry spots. What I'm pointing out to here is maybe we should go a little bit faster when we are these people here. It's an opportunity to do what we are always told to do, and what I think is a beautiful part of tango, which is to walk. And if you don't want to walk, you can also do many other elegant steps to the music, whatever you like, but do bear in mind the people behind you. There may be a lot of people waiting here. I always think it's kind of a pity when I see the song is getting along and these people are able to dance. Maybe even some of these leaders are doing their elegant apertura and showing how they are have great posture during the pause. No, it's not the time. Let's go forward a little bit and let all those other people onto the floor. That's my point here. Of course, you can do all those things, of course, but when you are among the first to get onto the floor and there's a big crowd behind you, please go forward a little bit faster than if you were in a situation like this. When we're in the milonga and it's already filled out, we don't have the freedom to go any faster. We're going to just have to go with the flow. But when we're in a situation like this, we can. So let's do so. Let's give a break to the people behind us. Number 7, keep a tight first lane. Here we have some people who have probably recently gotten onto the floor, and I understand what they're thinking. Hey, all this great space, I'm going to be able to enjoy all this, and I'm having a good time. Yes, but pretty soon other people are going to fill the floor, and it's going to be time to form a second lane. And what we see here is they're on both lanes. They're taking both lanes. And a lot of space is being wasted on either side of that lane. So do try to stay in a tight first lane, even if for the time being no second lane has been formed, because it likely will form. Number 8. Occasionally I see a milonga where there's unnecessary crowding in the outside lane. Now, I know that we are told early in our tango career that the good people go into the outside lane. And yes, that's actually relatively true, because there are such advantages to being in the outside lane. But when it gets crowded and there's a lot of space free in the middle, those advantages do not compensate. It's crowded, and a lot of space is being wasted. So look how much space is wasted because everyone is crowded into that first lane. And now watch as we move. A few of the more experienced dancers say, hey, wait a minute, there's no need. Let's go out and take that space. It looks pretty delicious to me. And they move out. And what happens is these people now have more space. So these seasoned dancers have performed a service for everybody else, and everybody will now be very happy with them because they have moved into the second lane, and that is going to make it less crowded in the first lane, right? And those seasoned dancers get to have a little bit more space. Now, of course, I do recognize that there are situations where there is a leader who is dancing quite erratically. A person who, we don't know why, feels entitled to more space, or is just having a really good day and taking up all the space from everybody else. And everybody else is obviously not going to be very happy. And I understand, of course, you're not going to want to go out and fill a second lane when you have that kind of a leader around, which actually is quite dangerous. So everybody will be pretty upset with that leader for behaving that way. On to the next point, if you will. Let's take a look at this floor. What is a little bit off here? Do you see anything? We have the people distributed fairly evenly, but there's something off. And I'm going to tell you what Raul used to tell me. Do dance into the corner. The corner has great advantages, and there's no reason to cut the corner in your milonga. So we're going to talk about the happy corner that Raul told me about. Let's take a look. So here we have a floor where actually the corners are cut. First of all, look at how much space is wasted. There's space there for how many couples? 1, 2, 3, 4 couples at least. So first of all, wasted space. But there's a couple of other factors. Let's take a look at a couple of positions on the floor and the advantages and disadvantages of those positions. Here we see a couple that is in the second lane, and one of the disadvantages for this couple is that you have people on all 4 sides. You have other dancers that you have to watch out for on all 4 sides. You have to say, okay, when do I move forward? How do I make sure that person has enough space? How do I avoid that? You have 4 sides exposed to all that extra management. And you cannot be seen on this side very well because the first lane is there, and of course this is the rest of the milonga over here. Generally, we want to be seen, right? Because it's when people can see that we can dance that they might feel like, hey, I'd like to dance with that person. And that's how you will get your next tanda, is by being seen, at least for some of us, at certain times of the week. That's what we would want to do. So we want to be seen. So that's not good here because you can't be seen very well. Now, on the edge, oh, this is much better. We are managing other dancers only on 3 sides, and we have one side that is stable, either a wall or chairs or something, and people can take a look. Hey, they can see us. They can see us. They're out there, and they can see us. At least these people along all of this edge can see us, and that's a good thing. So we have those advantages being in the first lane. Now, what about the corner? Well, that's even better. You can rely on a stable side here. 2 sides, well, you only have to manage 2 other sides rather than 3 or 4. And also people can see you from half of the room, assuming there are people all around this rectangular floor. This is half of the people. They can see you when you're in the corner. So you have all of those advantages when you are in the corner. Matthias, hi Matthias, said, don't forget to tell them that it's rude to stay in the corner. Yeah, the corner is nice, but don't be a verdulero in the corner, in Raul's words. 10, the joy of moving forward. Okay, this is a big point for me. I just think that moving across the floor is part of tango. That's why they insist so much on walking. And let's take a look at a video. Let's just watch these people. Lida Mantovani and Christian Sosa are going to dance for us at La Baldosa in 2009. They were the champions, so they're doing their victory dance. And I actually competed in that very venue that year. By pure chance, I chose that video. I did not make it to the finals, no. Let's take a look. Here we go. And as we are watching, please notice, how do you feel and why do you feel that way? Here they are, they're dancing along the tables, along the line of dance. If this happened to be a milonga for social dancing, they are cutting the corner and they're going into the second lane and things like that. But what I'm noticing about this, and the reason I selected this, is that they, even though it is a performance, they are dancing almost as if they were in a social situation. And of course, they're dancing the way they do when they compete. They also dance in a circle as if it's a social situation. So that's what we have there. And how did that make you feel and why? Since you're in the future and I'm here in my room, I can't hear your answer, but you can put it below. But I will just tell you how it makes me feel. It makes me feel like I'm not here recording something. I wish I was on that floor dancing. But why? Why in particular? because they're champions? No. What I'm referring to is that they are moving along, they are gliding along. I don't know. Am I alone thinking this? I think it's one of the great joys of tango. And I am frequently mystified when I see a couple in front of me, seemingly noticing almost by chance that the space is now free in front of them. Because for me, the joy of moving means that I'm quite on the lookout for when that beautiful moment will come, when we can go forward. And so that's what I'm emphasizing here, the joy of moving across the floor. And we are going to hear somebody else talk about it. Let's take a look. This is Fabian Salas and Chicho, who are being interviewed by Pepa Palazón for her YouTube channel, Tengo una pregunta para vos. Let's take a listen to Fabian, who is talking about this very subject of moving forward in the dance.
Esta cosa de estar parado y moverse en una tanda, haber avanzado 10 metros en la pista, o 5, si este vuelve, los mata a todos. Porque, claro, Tete era un tipo que transitaba, o sea, bailaba. Nosotros caminamos, nos movemos. Tete se desplazaba más que nosotros. Y ese era el tango también que nos llamaba la atención. Bailalo como vos quieras, pero transitá, movete. Pero movete, claro. Porque si te vas a quedar paradito ahí, le vas a dar de acá. Pero realmente lo que hace, lo que cambió es la dinámica del movimiento. Es decir, hoy la gente no se mueve. Uno va a la milonga y la gente no camina. Y los milongas de antes, que si hay alguno que vivió esa época, te ponían a caminar. Y lo único que te hacían hacer era caminar, 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 caminar y caminar. No te enseñaban una figura ni a palos. Pero era dale para adelante. Y hoy no le da nadie para adelante.
So there we have Fabian Salas, pretty frustrated, it seems, with what he's calling a new dynamic in the dance of tango, where people are not moving forward the way they used to. That's where I got the quote that people don't move more than 5 or 10 meters in an entire tanda. Well, let's take a look at some people who are moving forward. Let's take a look at this. This is a video of an event, a tango event. It's on YouTube. I'll put the link in the description below. And it's a pretty big floor. It's a floor laid out for the event and therefore quite big. And what you have is some people back here. We are going to follow those people through one song, a vals. We're going to see how far they get. You got a picture of them here so we can compare this before and after. Let's take a look as we watch from the beginning in fast motion to the end of this song. So it's been sped up. I have blurred other people just in case. Don't like being in a video, but it is on YouTube. Now it's going quite fast. The sound is off. You don't want to hear music in fast motion, but we're going to see how far that couple got in one song. And here they are. So they made it to here. They were way back there in one song. I'm wondering, how far do they get in your milonga in one song? Here we see they were dancing into the corners and filling out the second lane, quite wide lanes in my view, but why not? They have the space. And it's an example for me. They are able to go almost halfway around the room in one song. How far do they get in your milonga in one song? And do you think that's important? It's not a race. Nobody's in a hurry. It's just what you do. It's what tango is. And it's the joy of tango, one of the joys of tango. If you have space and you can do it musically and in the line of dance, it's nice to just dance into it. So there we see them. That's them. Yes, indeed. Let's do a quick recap. Please do not go backwards, even when there is space, even when you're not touching anyone. You will intimidate them so they can't go forward, and you risk actually running into them sooner or later. 2, don't swerve from lane to lane. 3, don't be a verdulero who stands and does tricks or talks during the music, which blocks the flow of the entire milonga. 4, don't be a bully, someone who dances erratically to occupy more space than they're entitled to. 5, don't be a hog who switches from lane to lane to reserve the space in front of him and making sure that nobody can pass and take that space away. 6, when entering through one of the few entry points, do get going a little bit faster than usual. Be considerate of those behind you waiting to gain access to the floor. 7, when in the first lane, keep it tight. Even in the beginning of the tanda, try to make space for this second lane to form. 8, occupy the second lane when it's empty to free up space in the first lane. This is what, in my view, the experienced dancers learn, even though in the beginning of our career in tango, we are told that all the good people go into the first lane. And we went over the various advantages of being in the first lane and why people want to be in the first lane. 9, do dance into the corner. It's one of the funnest places, but don't get stuck there. Don't be a verdulero in the corner. 10, do jump on the joy, in my opinion, of dancing forward when there is space, when you can do so musically, when you can do so in the line of dance, etc. It is one of the most wonderful things about tango, in my view. We were basing all this on our common wish, I think, to create something beautiful, create something together where we are looking out for each other, where we are making sure that the thing we have is being managed for the best enjoyment of all of us. And part of what that means is that the available space is not wasted and it is shared equally among all of the couples. Thank you very much for listening to this. I hope you found it a valuable contribution. That's my wish. I want to make a contribution to the community. David Violet, again, tango dancer, tango DJ, and tango coach. I hope you have a good time tonight if you're going out dancing. And maybe I'll see you. And if I don't see you tonight, maybe I'll see you in your city someday because I do travel a lot for tango. Take care. Have fun, and I'll hope I will see you soon.